25 pounds of boost. Just gonna roll into it. Hey guys, it's 941 Garage and welcome back to another video. So as you've seen by the video title, the time has come. It's time that this car goes on port injection. So currently the car has been on E40 at around 19 psi, which is pretty fast. You guys can see that these tires do not hold up well. All the car does is spin, but we will be on a tire setup as well to hold the extra power. My goals are to go full E85 at about 25, 26 psi. I don't want to go any more than that. I want to keep this car as reliable as possible. And I will be working with Doc Vu, doing a custom tune. So we'll see how that goes. So just a quick rundown on the setup. This is a 6262 Precision Journal bearing turbo with a twin scroll. And this is a Speed Tech kit, which I'm very impressed with this kit. The fitment is great. I know a lot of people complain about the sound, but my car does sound pretty good. It does have the stock exhaust, and I do still have the secondary cats, which is not too loud and not too raspy, but it does sound good. I did get a lot of compliments. So I do have a crankcase breather, non-special, forward-facing intake manifold, high side catch can. I will be getting a low side catch can as well, just because I am going to be running higher boost levels, and I'm going to be running E85. So the low side will help collecting moisture more than the high side does. Yeah, Tuner Motorsports coolant reservoir. And I am also running an HKS blowout valve with a custom charge pipe that I made. So this charge pipe, I get a lot of questions on Instagram on how I made this. So basically what you guys can do, you guys can go on eBay, Amazon, and just buy a cheap charge pipe, just a standard charge pipe. And what you're able to do is you're able to cut it at a certain angle, which it does fit in here pretty snug. And just use a 45-degree coupler and a few clamps to get it in place, and it works. Also, as for the transmission to hold the extra power, like I said, I am going to keep it under 26 psi. Maybe that's touching around 700 crank with this turbo. Maybe a bit less than that, probably like 680. I'm talking about crank, not wheel horsepower. I am on stock clutch packs, so they are a little bit limited. Even with XHP, it's gonna start slipping once I go over 700. So I'm gonna try to keep it reliable, and I'm gonna try to keep the transmission happy as well. Quick rundown on the suspension setup. I am running BC coilovers, BR I-18, and I'm also running I'm running a 12mm spacer in the front and a 15 in the rear. Rear tire does rub a little bit. As you can see, the wheel well is just under the tire, which I do like how this fitment sits. I'm still running stock diff bushing, stock transmission bushings. Everything's pretty much stock. The drivetrain is fully stock, so nothing done there. All right, so let's see what I got. All right, I got a fuel fitting for the fuel rail. I got a Y fitting that connects 2 fuel pumps inside the tank. And I did go ahead and I did buy the secondary fuel pump wire kit. It wasn't a bad price, and I didn't really feel like making my own, so I just went out and bought this. It does come with a hop switch, which I will be using. I know the Reflex does have auxiliary ports that are able to activate pumps and whatnot. On my old setup, I found that it was kind of unreliable and sort of had issues. So next, I do have another Walbro 450 dual pump bracket, and also I do have Precision Raceworks fuel pressure regulator as well, with the upgraded lines that go all the way to the high pressure fuel pump. So I'm pretty much set there. Ethanol sensor to run flex fuel with the harness as well, because you do need this if you're going flex fuel to connect to the Reflex. Fuel pump fitting that goes on top of the fuel pump. I did get the 750cc injectors. I really didn't see a need to get any bigger cc injectors. I think this is plenty. This is what my gold car ran as well, and that car performed great. Now the heart of all this is the Reflex Plus. All right, so you do have your wires that connect to your DME. So the main harness and the harness for the injectors, the Reflex itself, which also comes in a small little box. Before I do anything, I am gonna disconnect my negative terminal on the battery, just to make sure there's no power going to the car, so we don't short or fry anything. So I just wanted to show you guys real quick how my cover is set up. So I basically have heat tape right here that runs alongside of the cover and then a little bit underneath as well. So we got a few things out of the way. So our DME box is exposed. I think what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna set up my wiring for my secondary fuel pump. Everything's pretty straightforward. All right, so hopefully you guys can see everything. So the kit does come with this relay, and it comes with a small little, I guess you can call it a bracket. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unscrew one of the taillight bolts so that it's just gonna be right up here like this. So the negative terminal is gonna go on the negative wire right here, and then the positive is gonna go on the positive side all the way down there, which is pretty straightforward. So that's pretty much all we need to do here. So we got everything situated right here. So now we have all this extra wire. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run most of it right through here and all the way to there. Just remove the bottom of the seat and then remove the armrest right there. Just remove the trunk board, and then you guys can lift up on this trim piece right here and slide it all the way under, and then right by where the fuel pump sits. And then the extra wire, just tuck it down by the battery. All right, so it should be something like this. The wire comes from the side of the interior panel. So now you can just close this. And now all we have to do is get to our fuel pump, which is under here. So the fuel pump is out. And as you can see, I do have a single fuel pump bracket from Fuel It. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna disassemble everything and show you guys step by step on how to set up a secondary pump. All right, so this is kind of what we're left with so far. I still need to connect this fitting as well. All right, so this piece goes on first, just like that. Then once you get this fitting on, it doesn't need to be super tight. You could crank it down with some pliers, just so it's snug. It doesn't need to be very, very tight. We'll need to connect our Y fitting. So this is how the pump is set up. I think I still am gonna lower this by a little bit, probably like 1/4 inch. So the top pat goes in this way, pretty much where this big fitting, so it will line up straight with the float, and then it goes inside your pump like this. So now what we have to do to make this work is we have to drill 2 holes, one here and one there. I already marked that out. This is gonna be the wires for the secondary pump. So after you drill those 2 holes, we'll be adding these screws just so we can get wires in from the top. All right, so just like that. Now a quick note, just make the hole just big enough but still smaller than the screw, so you can almost still screw in the screw through this plastic, because it will help to seal the gas a little bit better. But we will add some O-rings just to make a better seal. Also, I made some wires that have a loop at the end like this, just 2, one black, one red. I didn't have a black, I had a brown, but pick 2 colors that you can have for a positive and negative. So the lead goes on first, and then you have your washer, and then you have your small O-ring. Then what you do, you're gonna slide it in here, and then from the top you do another washer, and then you do another nut. All right, so we add another washer right here at the bottom, just like that, and then we add another nut. So this is how I have it set up. The wire will run this way, kind of to the side and then down the middle. And then all you do is just tighten this down to where you compress the O-ring. But, you know, obviously make this pretty tight so it doesn't move, because you are gonna add another lead from the outside onto here and then another nut to tighten it down. Now you just do that to the other side. Now we got our positive and our negative, and these will connect to our secondary pump. All right, guys, so the fuel pump setup is finished and complete. So the fuel pump is in. It does take a little bit of wiggle room to get in there. Now after that, you do take this harness. Make sure you mark your positive and your negative side, just so you don't get confused. So you should be left with something like this. I haven't yet connected this yet. Now to make sure that the pump works and activates, the kit does come with a little testing tool. What you do is you just connect it into this. I don't know if you guys can hear the fuel pump priming. And I can hear the relay clicking as well. So we know it's working. So everything is pretty much finished up over there. Now, all you do is you connect this long harness that you get with the kit. You just tuck it by your trim pieces, like right here. I don't know if you guys can see. You just tuck it in there, and it will go up where your glove box sits, right through where the DME area is. I'll show you guys. Just to make things a little bit easier and out of the way, this will be the easiest way to do it is remove the DME box. Now, you see these wires that are coming through here? You have a few ports that you can use. I will be using this one right here. You're able to just cut this and feed a wire through it. I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna send it through there. Look, it just popped up right from under the car. Make sure you remove that bottom panel so you can get easier access. What I'm gonna do to make it easier, I'm gonna de-pin these wires, tape the wires through and just feed it right through, because this plug is kind of big. I might not be able to feed it through there. So we de-pinned it and we taped this harness to the wire. Now we just pull it. Guys, very simple. This shouldn't be difficult to do. Boom, there it is. So for the Reflex, you do have a harness that you have to connect to your computer. So I do also run an extended wire through that same port inside the car and into the Reflex. So all I do is I keep that USB wire in the glove compartment. So anytime I need to update the file or change anything, I can do it from inside the car instead of popping the hood open, opening the DME box. This is just easier for me. This is what's going to go into the Reflex. The extra wire is just going to be tucked into the glove compartment. So anytime that I need to update the Reflex, I just open up my glove compartment, pull the wire out, and connect straight to my computer. The harness for the hop switch is just going to run alongside the engine bay back there. And I'm going to put the hot switch under the intake manifold right here. This is the best spot for me because it will be well hidden and out of the way of any other wires. A lot of people do put it on the charge pipe right here. If you guys have the standard intake manifold, a lot of people just put on the charge pipes, but I'm just gonna put it in the intake manifold. Hopefully you guys can see that hop switch is right down there. I also went ahead and installed the fuel line. I don't know if you guys can see, but the fitting just goes into the fuel line where it goes to the high pressure fuel pump and then it routes back up. I'm gonna use this plug right here because I have no room to add the fitting here and the line won't reach long enough to get here. So it'll perfectly fit up here and it'll be hidden and out of the way. I'm gonna remove these and install the injectors, and then I'm also gonna add a 6AN fitting into this spot right here. So now that we have taken care of that, we need to install our ethanol sensor. So this is what I have going on down here. Yes, I do have full upgraded fuel line from Precision Raceworks, and it does come with this fitting. So you basically just remove this fitting, and in place you add the sensor, and then you just run your guys' harness all the way up from under and up to the engine bay. Sensor is in and plugged in, and as you can see, the wire harness just goes right along the fuel line and back up into the engine bay. Alright guys, so all the wires are tucked and zip tied away in the back of the firewall. There is an AC line that's all the way in the back of the firewall where you're able to just put a few zip ties and keep all the wires in place. I don't know if you guys can see, but almost all my wires are back there and they're all nicely zip tied. So we have the main harness for the Reflex and we have the ethanol sensor right here. What I like to do, I like to notch this rubber grommet with the razor blade and tuck the wires down in there and zip tie it to keep it in place. So when you guys put the cover over it, so the cover sits flush. Then we have a hop switch wire that runs along this way and alongside of the DME box. And the extra wire is just tucked away into this tunnel right here. And you can also go ahead and connect your ethanol sensor wire to the harness as well, just so you already have that done. Now we are going to move forward to these wires. These wires will be tapped into DME wires. Each of them are labeled, and there is a diagram on Reflex that you can go ahead and download. Yours might be different if you're either using an older Reflex or a Reflex Lite. Essentially, it's all the same. And we also will be using the yellow and green wires for the CAN bus integration. So I went ahead and connected all the wires. I am going to show you guys the diagram that I used, and I'm just going to go over it with you guys real quick. So the first thing I did was I connect the power wire, which is the red wire. It connects to this orange wire that's right here. It's pin number 2 on this green connector. They give you like a little splice connector that connects right into that wire. Next, what I did, I connected the ground, which it's just gonna feed from outside of the ECU box down along here and right here. This is just the black wire, which is the ground wire. You guys could place it in any other place, but this is where I'm putting it. Then what I did next, I connected the yellow and the green wire, which is going to be our CAN bus wires. It's going to be on this smaller connector of the DME. It's going to be on this gray connector. You can follow the wires along. It should be 2 wires intertwined, which is a red and a blue and red wire. So the yellow CAN bus wire goes to the blue and red wire, and the green CAN bus wire goes to the red wire. Next, I connected the crank sensor wire, which goes to a yellow wire, which is pin 10. And then I connected the map wire, which is on the same harness, this black one, which is connected to this larger harness. And it connects to pin 29 on this harness. Then on the same large connector, so on this small white connector, there is pin 11, which is a yellow wire, which will connect your cam wire. Sorry for my explanation, it might not be on point, but I will drop the diagram, which will make it a lot easier. This shouldn't be complicated. This is probably the easiest step. The Reflex Plus is in. There is a slot for it. We can just slide it in. Now all we have to do is update the Reflex and flash a few tuning files and we're good to go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna update the Reflex. So right here, we're gonna update it to version 6.2x. So one of the first things you kind of want to do is make sure Reflex is installed. You have at least a ground and a power connected to it before you do this. I'm going to open up USB bootloader. So we're going to connect our USB cable. Just turn the ignition on. Make sure all the lights and AC is off. And it says device is ready. That means we're good to go. So once we have connected, you press on this little box and we locate our file that we would like to update it with. We click open. Once it's dropped in there, we click this to erase and program. And now it should load. It says you may now unplug or rest the device. So you simply just unplug your USB and you're done. And let it sit for about 30 seconds just so the power drains. And you can also turn off your ignition. So now after 30 seconds, we let the Reflex rest. Now we turn the ignition on one more time. Connect our USB cable. Now you guys will see this small little box. Once you click it, you should say Reflex ready. Right there. As you see right there, it says our Reflex Plus 6.2 ready. So now we can drop in our tuning files. First, you'll need to get the generic XDF file. Your tuner will either give it to you or you can get it straight from Motor Reflex. Just drop it in right there. Boom, we have our XDF. And then you also drop in your tuning file that your tuner gives you, which will be your custom map. So we can do that as well. We drop that in as well. And last but not least, we drop in our ADX file as well. After all that's done, you click the up blue arrow, which once you click it, it should say Reflex ready on the bottom. It said right there, upload success. Now we're done with the Reflex. And now the next step is to upload our custom tune on MHD. All right, so we go to flash a custom map. Our map should appear right there, which is our Flex Fuel map. And then you check your options, make sure your options are all the same or modify any options you want. This is my options right here. Yes, I'm running single bank fueling with the DME boost control. So also, as you see right there, it says Motor Reflex has been configured as the CAN bus ECA in your custom tune and cannot be changed here at flash time. So that means it's already integrated. So once we flash this, we should be able to see what our ethanol content is. All right, so we flash the tune and we turn the ignition on. I set up the gauges before I'm about to start it. So here is our ethanol content. I am gonna start the car. It might sound a little weird due to some air in the fuel system. Here is our ethanol content, around 42%. The car was already tuned on E40, so I guess my mixture was pretty accurate. The motor is running as smooth as butter. The car is all put together and ready for a test drive. It will take a few revisions to get the car dialed in, but like I said, my goals are around 25 psi, 26 psi, full E85. Should be around 700 crank, maybe a little bit less with this turbo, but that's still plenty of power on the street. All right guys, so fast forward about a few days later. So as you can see, we do have a drag pack in the rear. This is a weld, it's a 17x10, and we are running a Mickey Thompson ET Street SS. So this is a 275 4017. We were having issues with the car hooking up at around 25 psi, so this was pretty much a must. Now the car pretty much takes off like a bullet. Here's what I was running before. I was running a 255 3019. This is basically just OEM spec for these cars. This is just some Chinese tire. It's basically brand new, but it was definitely not holding up. This is them compared to the Supra drag pack. All right, so this is about 2 days later. My camera did end up dying on that last part that I just showed you. Anyways, we have the drag pack on the Supra because I did install something to the Supra, which you guys will see in the next video. But I just want to show you guys these wheels for now, because I did remove the wheels because I had to get an alignment because the steering wheel was a little bit off and it was pulling hard right. Here they are. Here's a better look of them. They're basically brand new, barely any miles on them, except the tires. Obviously are pretty worn. I mean, the middle line is still visible, so these still probably do have a few miles on them, but I'm not gonna stretch it too far. I will have an update video for you guys for the Supra in the next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you guys got a bit of information from it and it might have helped you out a bit. I will be taking it to the track and we'll see how it does on port injection at around 25 psi. I might have a kill map that might be around 28 psi, but that's a little bit pushing it. As always, guys, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos.